Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Everything's Taken podcast, the podcast where we didn't have any names for it, so we called it Everything's Taken because every idea we had was taken. Wood, tell me about it. What's going on? How are you?
This is the second time we tried starting this podcast. We got a little bit tongue-tied the first time. It's the first time back in a while. That's why. We're not really sure what we're supposed to be doing, and I think we start every podcast that way. But this episode, I want to talk about Switch. I want to talk about some rumors, some theories, some suspicions, and moving on later into the episode, I want to catch up with Eric a little bit, talk about some milestones on the channel, and you guys might know what I'm talking about with that. And but for now, where do you want to start, Eric? What do you want to jump into first? There's a lot of Switch stuff right now.
Look, there's a lot of Switch stuff going on. Last time we talked, Super Mario Odyssey wasn't even out. Sonic Forces was supposed to be the reimagining of the Sonic series, and we both know how that turned out.
That was marketed wrong. That was pushed. It was pushed by Sega or whoever the heck pushed that to make it look like the next big Sonic title, and it was never supposed to be. It was a budget title. It even released at $40. It wasn't supposed to be the next big Sonic game, and it built the hype up way too much. And even then, the game sucked worse than I'm sure it was intended to suck.
It was really disappointing. Like, I bought it, and I was like, all right, I know this is going to be at least average. I mean, because Sonic Mania just came out of nowhere. Like, leave it to, like, a bunch of Sonic fans to make a good Sonic game, but Sonic Team themselves can't make a proper Sonic game. Whatever. That's none of my business.
I know some people enjoyed it. Sean from RGT85 actually managed to find some enjoyment in the game, but it's not what I'm looking for in a Sonic game. Sonic Mania was, for all intents and purposes, a great, amazing, probably the best Sonic game ever released, and I just personally don't feel like Sonic transfers into 3D. I feel like Mario took that leap and took it with grace, and it just works really well, the platforming side of things, but it's really hard to make a fast-paced platforming game in 3D or anything of the like. It just doesn't work with Sonic.
Like, Sonic Generations was great. I mean, this was like the fifth game or the fourth game in kind of the burst mode formula that they had, like with Sonic Colors and everything, which all those games were great. I mean, but I really love Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, but who knows? I don't know.
I'm okay. Those games were good, but they weren't the Sonic games that they're trying to do now. They were different. They were more Mario feeling, which maybe that's the direction they need to go in. Maybe they do need to make it a little bit more slowed down, platformy, take it away from trying to make the fast Sonic games in 2D, but in 3D, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So speaking of Mario, you just mentioned Mario. Mario Odyssey came out like a month ago today. What did you think? I mean, like, it's I remember it was 10 years ago. It was in my freshman year of high school. And Super Mario Galaxy came out, and the Wii was there, and you used all this stuff, and I felt like it was such an amazing game. So I kind of have this expectation that, like, 10 years later, here's another Mario's swan song, and I loved it, but I didn't really, really love it. I mean, it's awesome, but there's still a lot left to be desired. Like, you can get 999 moons and everything, but, like, I beat the game with about 150 or 200 or something like that. So
right.
I don't know. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on the game? I'm sure you've already discussed it, but...
Yeah, no, I mean, I talked about it on the channel. At that point in time, I had just finished the game. Now I've collected almost 500 moons after the game finished. I have been going pretty hard on that because I've heard there's a secret ending once you get a certain amount. And I know there's one more place I haven't been once you get a certain amount. I think I'm like 40 away from that now. I really slowed down on playing because I've gone to every world at this point and pillaged it. So now it's getting those last, like, tougher moons.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the playthrough. I thought the ending... the story was a letdown. It was what it was, and it was enough to get me through. Yeah. But it wasn't anything new, and the ending ruined it for me. I just felt like... I get what they were going for, a light, playful ending, but it really felt like, really, I rescued this chick for the 1 millionth time. And that's it? And it looks like she almost picks Bowser over me at the end.
I know.
Like, at that point, are you just stringing Bowser along? Like, is it even really Bowser's fault that he keeps kidnapping her? It looks like she's almost filling him with like doubt and expectations that maybe he might be able to hit it one day.
You know what? You never know.
You never know. But no, the actual game was really fun.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, like, especially for those of you who got to the end. I mean, I'm guessing this is a spoiler alert, but I'm sure everybody knows now. the very last kingdom that you go to, other than the secret kingdoms with the moons, the extra moons, is like the Mushroom Kingdom, and it's like a throwback to Mario 64, and you can even get the blocky Mario 64 like polygonal N64 costume, and awesome. Like I saw it and I got chills because like that was my first game ever. I was like 3 years old, and it was such a great callback. So good job, Nintendo, for making another great Mario game. Was it like the swan song? No, I think Mario Galaxy in more recent times is probably better, but that's just one man's opinion.
I would disagree with that. Mario Galaxy was incredible, but I preferred Odyssey, to be honest. Galaxy was a little more linear. It was a lot more linear. Yeah. And the Odyssey had a lot of Galaxy elements in it, but it was just so much more open. Also, I wouldn't say that the last level was a spoiler. That Mushroom Kingdom was a spoiler, because I think about 4 or 5 levels in, you actually can go through a painting and you get to see the whole world, and you find out that at some point you get to go there.
Do you really?
So yeah, cool. I mean, I think that was just something I stumbled upon, and not many other people did. But yeah, I knew that was coming right at the start of the game because I found that painting to go through. Wow, but anyway, it was a good game.
Let's talk about some HD rumblings. That's a term we haven't said in a while.
HD. I wanted one HD rumbling, and at the point you guys are listening to this, actually, it's going to be over. So I'll keep it brief. But tomorrow on Cyber Monday, today's Sunday right now, Amazon is doing Mario Odyssey, Mario Rabbids, and the Switch in a pack for $2.99.
Wow,
that's essentially getting Odyssey and Rabbids for free if you buy a Switch. So I'm not sure how that. I'm sure that's going to sell like fire. So I'm really interested to see how that goes tomorrow. And at the point of this podcast going up, we'll already know. So let us know down below in the comment section or in the review of iTunes or whatever it is, if you manage to pick up one of those, because I'm interested to see how many of those they actually give away or they sell.
Good deal.
What do you want to jump into next?
Well, I mean, we did a little bit of a pre-show rundown, so we got a couple things to talk about. The first thing that you brought to my attention in the category of HD rumblings, a really great phrase coined by you and I in episode 1, is the fact that Factor 5 from the Rogue Squadron series, there's interest in bringing it back to the Switch, or bringing it back to Nintendo platforms rather, because as we know, Battlefront 2 is out, and that was met with a lot of heavy criticism. And I mean, I myself didn't play it, and I don't really feel like paying to win or what have you. So, but supposedly EA is listening to the fans. But what do I know?
No, it's a sense of satisfaction you get from paying and unlocking the characters. You feel like you've accomplished getting your wallet out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So, I mean, like, do we want another Rogue Squadron to begin with? And do we want it on the Switch? The answer, both, is yes.
Yeah, it definitely is. I loved Rogue Squadron growing up. I played the heck out of Rogue Squadron 1 and 3, I believe. I had them on PC. I had one on GameCube. So fuzzy memories now of my childhood or my teenage years, but I love those games. I'd always try and get the 3 gold medals, I think it was, or you could get platinums. Again, fuzzy, but I played those games to death. And when I heard that a Rogue Squadron game might be coming to the Switch, I was really excited, because I was excited for Star Fox Zero, and that was a letdown. It was. I thought it was a letdown. I know people enjoy that game as well, just like people enjoy Sonic Forces, but I did not. So it would be cool to get another Rogue Squadron game. And from what I've heard, it's finished. It was completed for the Wii. It was finished for the Wii. And this Factor 5 or whoever it is that made the game is saying, hey, if Nintendo, Disney, whoever it is that needs to approve this thing wants to approve this thing, it could be on the Switch like tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm interested to see. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, if Nintendo's trying to get games on the Switch right now, I mean, that's a flight game is something that I don't think is currently on the Switch. So if they have one ready to go, just say yes, throw it on. You've got the Star Wars license, Star Wars franchise right there leading up to holiday season with Star Wars coming out. People are dying to play a Star Wars game right now because they were built up for Battlefront and let down.
I know.
So I think it's a great idea, an amazing idea, and I'd be surprised if they don't do it. But as of yet, no news on that front.
I mean, I got to tell you, I was looking at the Switch eShop yesterday, and there's actually a lot of titles that I didn't even know were there. There's like a Jet Moto GP or something like Wave Race kind of style game. which looked really cool. And there's just a lot of indie support and third-party support. Since we've last talked, like LA Noire came out on Switch, Doom is out on Switch, Skyrim is out on Switch. Like, I mean, sure, these are all last-gen games. Sorry, except for Doom. Those are last-gen games, and Doom is this gen. But everything's being ported over to the Switch. So, like, even though, sure, I've already played Doom, I want to play it again on the Switch, even though graphically, and I understand it's not anything to hold a candle to as far as the original, but it still maintains a lot of the great things about that game, like motion blur and whatever. So it's still a great package, and even though, like I said, I've played it before, I want to play it again on Switch because Switch is the home of games for this generation for me. But yeah, Switch is, man, since the last we talked last month or September, whatever, it's like a lot of stuff has come to Switch, which is great.
Really. Great. I have fallen in love with my Switch. Yeah. I was just saying the other day to Billy and Sean, like, I get my Switch out, and it can be for so many reasons at this point. Maybe I'm watching Hulu, which is something I got Hulu because the Hulu app came to Switch, and I've been watching Hulu on my Switch. And if I'm not watching that, or maybe I'm switching to Skyrim and diving into the world of Skyrim, or maybe I'm switching back to Odyssey and trying to collect the rest of the moons. Maybe I'm switching back to Zelda Breath of the Wild and finishing up the last DLC in anticipation for the new DLC. I've got all those eShop games I rent and rave about all the time that I'm playing on my Switch. It's never ending. There's always something, and there's games on my Switch I haven't got to yet. It seems like I've gone from I never really, there was maybe a couple months that I wasn't, before I got heavy into the eShop games, when I first got the Switch, I was like, what do I play now? But now it's like, what can I afford to buy now? Yeah. And can I justify it because I haven't played these games yet? So I love, dude, that and my PlayStation 4, but at this point, my Switch gets turned on so much more than PlayStation. Yeah,
mine too. I haven't turned my PS4 on in a while. I was actually looking at PS4 because A Hat in Time came out, but it's only been out on PC and Mac, which, by the way, I bought it for Mac on Steam, and it didn't work at all. So I did thank you, Steam, for doing the refund scheme. So...
so surprised that game came out because that was one of the first games I reviewed on my channel. I was given a code when it was in beta 4 or 5 years ago.
I know.
And every now and then I would think about it. I would just be like, hey, that game never came out. And then randomly one day I got a code in my email saying, hey, here's the full game. And I haven't played it yet, but I was like, wow, that actually came out. Like, it's crazy.
It wasn't necessarily.
Is it? Have you played it?
No, I really wanted to play it, but like I said, I bought it for Steam on Mac. I mean, haha, gaming on a Mac. But it just didn't work. Like the window would launch and then it would crash, and I couldn't use any controller input other than keyboard and mouse. I mean, let's be serious. Are we really going to play a collectathon platformer with keyboard and mouse? The answer is no. And if you do, you're stupid. But no, you can do whatever you want. But just didn't work for me. But like, it came out like the 2 weeks prior to Mario Odyssey, so it didn't really seem like good timing. Like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people loved it, and the people eat up the collectathon games, of course, being 90s kids.
They're definitely making a return,
which is great. I love that genre.
No, yeah, definitely. Also, I don't want to, we're on A Hat in Time now, and I don't want to strive too far away from
the Switch,
from Nintendo Switch. There's still so much we have to talk about, but actually I was just sent a link to a bunch of rumors, which includes Switch rumors and things that are half confirmed. And there was about 10 minutes ago, or 5 minutes ago, you might have seen my hand cover my mouth as I read Devil May Cry 5 will finally be announced, and it's going to feature Dante, Virgil, and Nero all playable in the game. I am a huge fan of Devil May Cry, and I can't tell you how much that excites me. I love Devil May Cry 4 as much as the rest, and I honestly never thought I would see a 5. When the remake came with the first game, or the origin story DMC, I loved that game, by the way, but I thought that was definitely the main series has ended, maybe this will continue, or maybe that's it. But Devil May Cry 5, it's happening, and I don't know how many other people are excited about that other than me, but that is big news for me in my world.
Wasn't Devil May Cry 4, was Dante not in that?
No, he was. Devil May Cry 4 was Dante and Nero. I don't believe Virgil was in it. I can't remember. I don't think he was. If he was like an unlockable playable character near the end. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that. Maybe I think I am wrong on that, actually. But it was mostly Nero and Virgil. You play the first half of the game as Nero, and then near the end you play the second half of the game as Dante. And it was a great game. I loved the game so much. Some of the craziest cinematics, and The opening sequence is still one of my favorite opening sequence of a video game. Dante rains down from the ceiling of a church, blows the minister, the priest in the head, and then turns around, and Dante's like loading his gun by throwing bullets in the air and just swishing his gun at them, and they fall into the barrels.
Typical Devil May Cry fashion. I mean, I never got into that series, but gee, it looks badass.
There's also other things I'm seeing here, like Resident Evil 2 remake, which I think I heard about actually, which is supposed to be a third-person game. We might be seeing something about it at the end of the year. Some new characters and new additions to Street Fighter V, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which that game sorely needs new characters.
Yep.
I have heard about a Soul Calibur 5.
With
it's supposedly
Link
in development. Well, yeah, it's supposed to be coming to the Switch. In fact, right now it's only been rumored to be Switch, PS4, and I think PC. Wow. And nothing's been heard about on Xbox One yet. So, but I mean, I think at that point it has to be on Xbox One. Like, that much is obvious.
Yes.
And I was saying recently it would be really cool if you go back to the PS2 era where it was those 3 characters. You know how they always have extra characters in the game, like that one? You go back to like Link and Spawn and whoever it was that was on PS2 at the time.
Was it somebody from Tekken? I can't remember. I can't remember.
I never played the PS2 one. I played the Xbox and GameCube one. But so that's something I'm really interested in. We have some more Switch rumors here too. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
This one's up your alley, so I'll let you talk.
All right.
Mother 3 is real. Have you heard about this? Should I continue reading, or do
Come on! How has this not happened yet? Like, for real? Supposedly, I follow all of the Earthbound and Mother Reddits, the subreddits and everything, and like every year it's like, okay, it's coming. Supposedly, it was going to be announced last year at E3. Where is it? Like, why do they not just
According to this source, I wanted to give you more information.
All right.
It's completely localized and playable. So it's being held back for some reason, but there's also really big rumors right now that there's going to be a Nintendo Switch event coming very soon. They've opened up a spot on the listings for a Nintendo Switch event, and people are they're thinking it's going to be used primarily to talk about the Zelda DLC that's dropping, but they're going to squeeze in some new titles for January and moving into the new year. So do you think Mother 3 will be one of them? And if not, what else do you think?
Do I think? No. I mean, given Nintendo's track record with Mother 3, I mean, Mother 3 came out in, I think it was 05 or 06 or something like that. And of course, everybody who's wanted to play it or has any bit of interest in the Mother series has downloaded the patched ROM, which is, by the way, fully playable and readable because it's translated by the Starman.net community or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but like, I played it there and it was great, but I don't know, surely why wouldn't Nintendo just use that translation unless they want to change different things, of course, because you know how Nintendo is with localization or whatever. But do I think it's going to happen? No. Would I love it to happen? Of course I would, because I love all that Mother stuff and Earthbound stuff, and like, I'm even following a fan game that's being made which is called Mother 4, but now it's changed to something else. Let me catch my breath because I'm running out of breath talking about Mother. No, I'd love to see it, truly. Will we see it? I have no idea. Reggie's probably just going to slap me down thinking about it anyway.
I don't know, man. Switch, Nintendo has been really surprising me lately. It's been a matter of, for years, it was, why don't you do this? It will make you money. And they didn't seem to want to do any of it. It's like, why not do Metroid Prime 4? It'll make you money. And now they're doing that. And why not make a Pokemon RPG game on your main system? It'll make you money. And now they're doing that. And I don't know. I really feel like we're going to see a lot of surprises going into this year because they're always really secretive. But they announced that Yoshi and Kirby were coming out this year, or like next 2018, like forever ago.
Yeah.
And they have not announced anything new for next year yet in a long time.
We're overdue.
And I really feel like they're gonna just come out the gate with another, like they did initially with the Switch, another big announcement of, hey, here's 2018, and we're gonna see some really interesting stuff. And Mother 3, it's something that so easily could be thrown onto the eShop, and if it's already finished, that's a moneymaker.
Just do it.
And I think now they know what their moneymakers are. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
There is such a big Earthbound and Mother community. I love like especially, they put it on the Wii U eShop, and of course, they put out the Nintendo Mini, and of course, I have the 25th anniversary ROM on there. even though it's not anything official, updated sprites and whatever. It's easier gameplay. But like I love Earthbound and I love Mother, and I'm dying to see that stuff. But like Nintendo, if like you alluded to before, Kirby and Yoshi was announced. I think it was at E3 or at some point. Nintendo is really good at making me question whether or not to pay bills this week or buy Switch games. So like, yeah, that's really good. But I'd love to see them. And if Mother came, please do a physical. I've got to have a physical of that at least, but probably won't happen.
So I mentioned, I think it will happen. I mentioned Pokemon was coming to the Switch this year, main Pokemon title. I mentioned it, but is it going to be this year? That was what I was going to lead into, because there's been no announced date yet. The two biggest things we currently know about that we don't know anything about at the same time is Pokemon and Metroid. Mm-hmm. I am firm that Metroid won't be out until at least late 2019. Yeah. Possibly even 2020.
That's right.
But Pokemon, that's something that, while I feel like they haven't been working on it long, they've been making Pokemon games for so many years that they're not going to take as long with that one as they will Metroid. They have a formula in place. They're probably going to stick to it pretty close to the chest. Maybe add some new things in, like usual. Maybe even like more new things than usual, because it is going to be hopefully a kind of a different game on a home console. But at the same time, it won't take them long to knock that game out, I don't feel like. So are you thinking late this year? Are you thinking we're going to hear about that in the next month for late this year? Or are you thinking 2019?
Look, I think definitely I'd like to hear something in January. Because normally how the Pokemon company's been doing it through Nintendo Directs is they'll announce beginning of the year and then the game will come out November sometime. So, for example, like Ultra Moon and Sun or whatever, just came out, and I'm questioning like why. I understand that there may be different features and everything, and I'm just skipping that one, and I'm just waiting for the new one on Switch. I would love to see it soon. Those came out.
I don't want to interrupt. Sorry, I am, but those came out because Sun and Moon were actually some of the best-selling Pokemon games in a long time.
Yeah, you're right.
They actually sold really well. So they wanted to capitalize on that, and like they sometimes do bring out advanced versions of those games with some extra things in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's all right.
Were you done?
No, I mean, like, no, I get it from like a business standpoint. Like, yeah, it's stupid, like, not to do it. It's a license to print money. I mean, personally, I'm not interested in that. I loved Pokemon Sun. That was great. I spent my 22 hours there. I did that in about like 5 days. So I played that game. I played that game like it was my full-time job. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. But I would love to see a mainline Pokemon game come to the Switch. It's the next evolution of the series. Any chance that we might see a reiteration of a beloved installment in the series, like Red, Blue, and Yellow and Green? Like, would we see that? Is that possible, or do you think they would just go a whole totally new adventure? I mean, it's more likely that they do a totally new adventure. But come on, don't tell me you don't want to see Kanto and Johto and.
So you're thinking it could be kind of a reboot on the Switch?
I don't know. Anything's possible, but
I mean, it would be interesting. I don't
think they should do that, but I would.
No, I mean, I don't think that will be the next thing they're working on, because they're going to want to try and keep the fans they've built over the last 3DS generation. Yeah. Because that's the thing is this is actually way bigger for the Switch than what people might be realizing. No. Because what the main seller for the 3DS is one of the best selling systems of all time. It blew away the competition to the point where the Vita and the PSP died, and that's like Sony. And the reason why it did that is because of Pokemon. It's the main draw of having those portable systems, and it has been for years. Yep. There's other things, sure, but Pokemon's a huge thing. So if we're moving over the main titles to the Switch now, and let's say they stop being on the 3DS, so that's it now. They're going to be on the Switch. Yep. And Nintendo have already said they're discontinuing support for the 3DS after 2018. So this is the start of the 3DS community needing to jump over to the Switch. And it's not a big leap for them. Once they drop the money on the system, they have the next portable system. They've been using portable. This is how they game. And now they have the Switch. So that's huge. You're getting that huge market, that huge audience over to this system. It's going to double, triple the amount of systems being sold.
Well, yeah,
easily.
Exactly right. I mean, before the program, I found an article here that said some analysts said that the Switch might take over 40% market share of Pokemon releases. Like, I know Nintendo knows. and I know the Pokemon Company, they know as well. I mean, and we all as consumers and gamers, we know. So it's only a matter of time.
It's inevitable.
It's just gonna like totally dominate. Like, you think the Switch is big now? Wait till Metroid is on there, and Pokemon is on there. So
this console is. It already is, and it's definitely becoming what Odyssey was to Mario.
Yeah.
A love letter to Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
right.
Odyssey was a love letter to Mario. It encompassed all Mario elements into one game. And that's the mindset I feel like they've used in a lot of things. I feel like Zelda had that in a lot of aspects.
Yeah,
it was a love letter to all Zelda games, and this is what Zelda has been amounting to, and that's what the Switch is now. This is, I mean, they already showed when the Switch was released, there was that nice nifty little video graphic of, hey, we took this part from this system and this part from this system, and they threw it all together. You remember that?
Yes,
that
I
video?
do. Yeah.
And now you've got, every single main Nintendo game, even ones that people had thought Nintendo had forgotten about, like Metroid, is going to be on the Switch. Everything is going to be on the Switch. This system is Nintendo's baby at this point. It's everything that Nintendo has ever been amounting to.
F-Zero on the Switch, likely or not?
It's. I think at this point anything is possible, and yeah, I think it will happen as long as they have all the licenses in place and they can make one. I think they will at this point.
Why not?
They're running out of first-party franchises.
Yeah,
we're only a year and a half in, and they've blown through everything. So, we're gonna have to see it at some point.
I hope so. I certainly hope so.
I love the Switch.
Oh.
I get so worked up.
It's truly my favorite Nintendo console in a long time. Probably since
I love it, dude.
Probably since the N64. Like, it just gives me the warm and fuzzies like the N64 used to when I was a kid. And
I know.
There's just something about it.
There's something about playing it, man. Like, it's just, you can play it whenever you want to, wherever you want to, in the position, in the place that you feel comfortable with. Like, if you feel stressed out and you want to go lie in bed, you can take it with you. It could be your happy place in bed. It can be your happy place on the couch. You can take it somewhere where you know you're going to be bored, like at a doctor's freaking office, and you can play it there, and it's suddenly not so boring anymore.
The bathroom.
Such a ray of light.
The bathroom.
And the bathroom.
Who reads Reader's Digest or the Farmer's Almanac? Bring your Switch in there. Switch.
Look, it's not about the games, it's the friends you make along the way. So, another thing we can touch on here is the Switch's virtual console.
Yes. Where is it?
And we're coming up to the midway point in the podcast here. We can move on from Switch soon, but I do want to talk about, oh God, really? I just read something else really interesting too. We'll get to that.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
The virtual console. Where's that? When's that coming?
Who knows?
We're gonna hear about that in January.
I think. Look, I'm glad that they just didn't do it right off the bat, because we've all played those games before, and it was a great idea for the Wii. That was 10 years ago. The Wii U came out, and it's like, all right, come on, like, we've already bought these games, and now it's like, all right, whatever. So I think. You talked about this a couple podcasts ago, where it would be like a subscription based thing, something like that, like pay X amount of dollars per month.
It's like 20 a year, I believe.
Yeah, which is I think a good model.
Very reasonable.
So I would love to see it. Is it going to come out? Yeah, most definitely. Like, come on, why would Nintendo not cash in on Mario Brothers for the 40th time? I mean, I'll buy it.
So I feel like this is something that needs to happen for Nintendo, because as much as free online is fantastic and it's such a nice business model to have and not have to pay for something else, it also shows in the quality of that online. I mean, there's no real support for it. There's not even a voice chat. There's no point really investing time into something like that if people aren't paying for it. You do the bare minimum and you give it for free. But that makes sense. So at the point where people are actually paying for it, that's when a standard is put in place, and they have funds coming directly from that area to invest back into that area. So hopefully we'll see some better support. I mean, we're seeing games like Doom and Rocket League, which were both ported over by Panic Button, I believe, have really great friend invite systems, which other games really are lacking in that, especially ones made by Nintendo. So hopefully that'll set some standards. And I feel like a reason why they waited off on doing it for a while is definitely because you have all these eShop games. They have so many eShop games coming out, and you want to give them a chance to shine, because you can't put all these like thousands of eShop games on the system and then be like, oh, but we also have these old classics that you all know and love. Spend your money here instead. They really wanted to give developers a chance to jump on with their system and actually have developers have success on the system, rather than just try and line their own pockets with games they've sold a bunch of times, because that's not how a console is going to be successful.
No, it makes more sense to do that, and like you said, give space to the indie developers or the third party. Nintendo has such a big install base with all of their previous systems and iterations of games, so I'd rather them wait instead of release a half-baked virtual console where it's like Super Mario Brothers 3, $299, and that's it. But I mean, like, sure, you got your portable factor, but if I wanted to do that, I would just get the collection for GBA or Game Boy Color or whatever. So
here's a couple more things, and one of these were the one that I got excited about before. Blizzard is preparing, and wait for it, because I know so many people. I was gonna say, some people listening right now is like, Overwatch, please say Overwatch. But no, Hearthstone port for the Switch, which that makes a lot of sense.
Sure
it's a card game that you play on mobile or PC, but it already has touch controls, tablet, iPad, all that's already optimized. So throwing it on there would be easy. It's a free game, and trust me, guys, it's really fun. I was playing it last night. I actually play it quite a lot. It's a really great game.
Really fun.
And the reason why that's exciting, not only because I like the game and I'd love to play it on my Switch, is because Blizzard dipping its toes into the Switch does mean hopefully success for them with Hearthstone moving into, maybe we get Overwatch, maybe we get some games that they want to port over to the system. And just the fact that you can put Blizzard in amongst the other third-party developers now putting games on the Switch. I mean, you got Blizzard now, you've got Bethesda now. Help me out here, because I mean, there's so many. Ubisoft has been supporting the system for the longest time.
Rockstar, maybe.
Rockstar has, I mean, you got some of the biggest, if not, they are the biggest names in gaming putting games on the Switch. I think the last one that needs convincing now, and honestly, I couldn't give a shit either way if they decide, is EA.
Yeah, no.
And the only reason why I'd want EA is Call of Duty. They do Call of Duty, right? I don't play Call of Duty.
Who knows?
I'm almost certain they put out Call of Duty games. But that's really the last thing we need on the Switch. And I mean, even then, do you need it? It'd be nice to have those people jump over that want to play those games, but apart from that, I don't really want to support them.
That's what Reggie says. Our gaming godfather, Reggie. That's what he says. Good software sells great hardware. I mean, that's the thing. Like that, those games are over there, and like, you know, I understand that everybody can afford both consoles at once, but prior to the Switch, generally a lot of people had a PS4 or an Xbox One. And those experiences are over there. And that's why Switch is cool, because, yeah, sure, they do share some of the same third-party experiences, but they have their own unique thing that they're doing. And that's why the Switch is so special, and that's why we've dedicated the first half of the podcast to it, because it's just a unique, really good experience. And I'm glad Nintendo has finally found, I wouldn't necessarily say their niche, but they're listening. They're finally taking in the advice that the fans of saying, like, do this. This is a license to print money. And they're obviously going forward with that. Again, a lot of indie and third-party support. Switch is here to stay. Switch doesn't suck. It's here. And it's a really great, dedicated gaming system for great experiences. And we love it.
That was such a nice wrap-up that I almost don't want to mention the fact that we forgot Square Enix, who was putting out The World Ends With You 2.
Wow.
Exclusively on the Nintendo Switch.
Good job. I didn't play the first one, but I really love the art style, so really cool.
And a new Animal Crossing. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that...
oh man, I don't know about that.
What? No, like, it's some sort of new Animal Crossing is releasing in the next year.
For the Switch, absolutely. Really quickly while we have time. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. For those of you who may not know, it's a app version of Animal Crossing. It actually officially came out a couple days ago, but I actually got it on the eShop like last month because it leaked on the Australian eShop. And I played it for about 4 or 5 days, and it's basically pay to win, pay to decorate your camp.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like it's fun. Don't get me wrong; it is somewhat of an Animal Crossing experience, but don't go in there thinking that you're going to go be shopping at Tom Nook's store and getting tons of deals and designing your own house. I mean, it is kind of that. You can design your camper and whatever and get double decks, and I don't know. It's fun, but it didn't really take me more than a week to say, okay, that was that.
Okay. And with that being that, do you want to cut to some amazing quality music that you yourself like to perform before we dive into some other interesting topics in the second half of this podcast?
Sure do. All right. So Some of you may or may not know I run a YouTube channel called Retro Game Remix, dedicated to remixing your favorite classic video game songs in a modern full band, one-man band take, high quality, whatever you want to say. This is from my last album, and at this point, we'll talk about this after the break, which may actually be my last Retro Game Remix album. So we'll talk about that after the break. But this is the second track from Retro Game Remix Volume 4, now available at erikladd.bandcamp.com, erikladd.bandcamp.com. Pay what you want, or just grab it for free. All my Retro Game Remix albums are available now. But this is Sonic's Chemical Plant from Sonic 2. Check it out.
Welcome back to the Everything's Taken podcast, episode 9. Here on the Beat 'em Ups channel and iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever it is you're listening to our podcast. Eric, you aren't doing any more albums now? What?
Yeah, so this is something I thought long and hard about. So Retro Game Remix, as I alluded to before the break, I've actually done that for the last 4 years or something like that. And so far, I've released 6 albums. Retro Game Remix Volume 1, 2, 2.5, 3, and now 4, and Chrono Trigger Wings of Time, a tribute album. So it's a 10-song record that has all the Chrono Trigger songs. It's just becoming too time-consuming. And, I mean, it's one of those risk-reward things. I put a lot of time into it, and I would never got enough views or anything to make it really viable. You know what I mean? Occasionally you get a download every now and again on my Bandcamp page, but it's a very niche thing, and I've pushed it for the last couple of years, and nobody's biting. So I figured, you know what? I'll leave that as it is. So as it stands now, I think Retro Game Remix is done. Basically, life is just getting too busy. Other than it, nobody really superbly being interested. Like, my business has really taken off. A recording studio. We're moving into a commercial space in January, so I'm still making music. I've got a solo album in the works. I'm working with a bunch of different local musicians here in Australia for a lot of great projects. So Retro Game Remix is slowly being pushed to the side, unfortunately. It was great. I'm really glad I've done it. So Retro Game Remix Volume 3 and 4 are released on the same day. So between those two albums, you got 22 songs. Pay what you want on ericladd.bandcamp.com, EREKLADD.bandcamp.com. Check it out. Who knows? Maybe I'll do another one, but not for now. Not for a while.
There'll be some links below, especially if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I mean, you heard the song just then. If you're still listening through from the ad break that we had, or the song break that we had, and it's really quality music, and it has been for a long time.
Yeah.
You've been doing a lot of hard work for a lot of years, and
Yeah.
definitely deserved a lot more than what you have been given.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all right. I'm not like a pity party of like, I didn't get enough subs or anything. It's just life's just been too busy, and I just didn't get enough interest. So it is what it is. I'm not crying about it. So
Makes sense.
So risk versus reward.
All right. I mean, well, I don't want to dive into what we had next then on the back of that.
No. Let's
have a
let's do it. Let's do it, because this is something that you should be proud about. So
I am.
You should be, because now you are up to 6 digits, which is really good. I mean, honestly, you've worked really hard over the last couple of years, and like, I remember when I first saw you on Retro Liberty's channel with the boomerang, and you were like, Retro Liberty, that was the first time I saw you. And now here we are doing a podcast together, and you're doing a lot of hard work. You're doing the daily grind, and you just put out a 24-minute and 18-second, 100,000 subs. Thank you. So, dude, you're doing the grind. Teamwork makes the dream work, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't have done it. I mean, I said it in the video, but I couldn't have done it without the support of not only the people that watch, but the people that are close to me and the people that I work with, people like yourself. I mean, this podcast has brought in subscribers. There are people that watch the show now purely because of the podcast.
Sure do.
And I mean, there's so much more. I mean, we've worked on videos in the past, so you played your part in getting the channel where it needs to be. I've definitely leaned on a lot at to get to this point, and I'm not in any way not appreciative for that. I love all of you so much for helping me get to the point that it's at. I mean, I don't consider it just my channel either. I consider it our channel. I consider it everyone's channel. Everyone that's played a part. Everyone that there's a huge community. There's people on Discord that talk every day. Like I'm so not active on Discord, and I wish I was more active. But I have the Patreon Facebook chat, which is so active every day. There's a family and community in there, and then you go to Discord, and it's people are talking probably in there right now.
Yeah.
Just people that have met and talked through the channel, through the show, and it's so surreal to me because, especially because it has grown so fast. And I used to look at channels around 100,000 like they were these huge channels, and it was just so out of my reach. And now I'm sat here and I'm one of them, and it does not feel in any way real. Like the shit I was envious of for years, and now it's a reality. And I don't know. It's really strange. It doesn't feel any different, but at the same time it does, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm definitely appreciative, and it's been a lot of hard work, and it's been making videos every single day. And I quit my job when I was working in Canada. Now I can't work the place I'm at now in America, but when I was living in Canada, I quit my job so I could focus on it. And it was at a point where I didn't know if I was going to be able to make rent. With Patreon, it was definitely something I could take the risk on, but I didn't know if it was a good idea or if it was a bad idea. All I knew is it was growing, and I wanted to focus on it. And obviously, it's a good thing I did, because it's still growing because of that.
Yeah, that's honestly, like, aside from YouTube or whatever, it's just a really good life lesson. Like, if you want it, go get it. Like a lot of people have asked me about music and stuff. Like, how do you get to do this, or how do you get to do that? Like, just do it. Like, if you're not doing it, go do it. Nothing's stopping you from chasing whatever goal or dream that you have. And like, would getting to 100,000, sure, may not to some people seem like just a numbers game, but realistically, it's not. There's 100,000 individual people out there who appreciate everything that Wood does as a content provider, and like, working day and night and quitting jobs, and like, can I pay rent this week? Like, you got to make sacrifices like that. So sure, it's a great number thing, but it's a milestone of success and hard work. Like, you can do it. And you've only been doing this for like 4 years now, 3 or 4 years,
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
So, like, testament to hard
work. And it's more than that big number too. And you're absolutely right with putting in the hard work and going for it if it's something that you want. But it's more than just that 100,000 too. It's the fact that people are actively watching. Videos will get anywhere between 10 to 200,000 views, and there's one on 1 million, and then you compile the amount of time people have spent watching the channel over the 5 years. It's like 110 years. If you compiled the minutes watched, 110 years worth of watched content across my channel. It's insane when you put all that together, and it's all growing, and it's growing so well. It's not just the big number you see, it's everything behind the sines too. So, I mean, that's all thanks to people that are listening right now as well.
That's exactly right. I mean, like, if there weren't people listening, there wouldn't be people commenting, like, you know, like you said, in your Discord chat and your Discord servers, like, there are people who probably ended up being friends with each other by talking on that. So, like,
and that's amazing.
Beat 'em ups isn't just you. It's like the community that is in and around you and your videos and the people who are involved in making those. Like, I kind of think, like, of Metal Jesus, like, there's like, you know, 6 or 7 or maybe 10 different people that revolve on that channel. So it's not only Metal Jesus, but there's other people involved as well, and that's what that's what makes it cool. I like that you do that, you know, that kind of thing.
And I mean, and just wrapping up this conversation, like Eric was saying, and I did like that. I mean, yeah, if there's something that you want, something that you want to have happen, just go for it. I mean, make sure you're in the position to do it. Don't quit your job and follow something that's maybe not working out at that current point to try and make it happen. You need to make sure that you're going to be in a good position to do it. But as long as you are, do whatever you can and whatever you have to do it in.
Yep, exactly right.
To make your dreams happen. And I don't know. I don't know if 100,000 was exactly my dream, but growing the channel and being more successful and having people watch my videos more is definitely something that I have always wanted. So
yeah. Exactly right.
And
exactly right. There you go. So big congrats, Wood. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you, buddy. And I mean, you're along for the ride.
Hey, here I am, episode 9.
Here you are. It should be so much higher.
I was just gonna say, like, our original plan was to do it weekly or bi-weekly, and that was back in like March.
We got it, dude. We've got it now. I just moved into this house, man, and I got to tell you, it took more than just the moving in process. We're still going out and buying knives and forks and trying now going out looking at Christmas trees. It just never seems to end.
I know how it is.
But I swear to you, man, and everyone listening right now, this is it. We're back. I mean, you want to lock in a time right now for next week? I'll be there.
All right, we'll do it.
We need to set like a Friday or Saturday at a certain time.
That's exactly it. But we'll get there. I mean, that's fine. I'm happy to do it at the pace we're doing. And look, as long as people are still listening and watching, that's all I care about. So,
what else have we got on the agenda? Do we have more on the agenda?
Yeah, we do. We got a couple pop culture things. So this is something that I wanted to bring up. Wood, are you a fan of Blade Runner? You do?
I don't hate it, but I have also not seen it since I was like 10.
All right. So Blade Runner is actually, the last time I saw you in Adelaide, it was like an 8-hour drive, of course, from point A to point B, and I watched Blade Runner, which took about, like, I don't know, 6 hours of the trip.
You watched it on the bus?
I watched it on the way. So, like, it was a really slow movie, and I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But it just put something in my head after I watched. I was like, gee, that really made me think. So I went back and rewatched it, and I was like, shit, this is really good. So last month, I think it was like October 7th or something, or 6th, Blade Runner 2049 came out, and that had Ryan Gosling. And wow, it was awesome. You know, it's like the first time since Interstellar that I was sitting in a cinema and I was like, wow, this is really good. Like, you know, when you're in a cinema and you're having a really great cinema experience. This movie was like 3 hours long. And you know it's good because my wife didn't like it. Like, you just know. There's just something good about it. I love that pop culture thing. I love the science fiction Ridley Scott kind of shit. So, like, Blade Runner 2049, go see it if you haven't seen it. Seriously.
Yeah, great. Jay and Jordan went to watch that together, and I know Jordan loved it and Jay hated it, but Jay is the worst when it comes to movies. Jay has the absolute worst taste in movies. He's the kind of guy that prefers the Star Wars prequels to the originals.
Dude.
It's just, he's so bad, dude. And it annoys me because he sticks to his guns, like what he believes is like, this is a good movie, hands down. Like, I know a good movie kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he hated Blade Runner. He hates all the good movies. Jeez. And then he likes shit like the prequels weren't that bad. They were really good. I'm like,
dude.
He's like, I'll give you the second one wasn't that great. I'm like, wasn't that great? It was one of the worst movies I have ever seen. I mean, that's a whole other thing.
Dude, episode 8 is coming out in like 2 weeks.
I know.
Are you excited for that?
Well, actually, Kim and I were trying to avoid all trailers for that, and then we went to watch Thor Ragnarok, which I want to talk about as well. They played a trailer at the start for Star Wars, and I'm kind of glad actually, because watching my first taste of that movie on the big screen when I'm sat waiting to watch Thor was the best way to get a blast of that movie, and I am now very excited. I was excited before.
What do you think?
But I'm now like, yeah, I'm ready. I think it looks like a perfect follow-up. It looks like obviously the build-up to Rey being whatever she's going to become. We're going to hear more about the story of her and everything. And you know what's really interesting though? That the Star Wars Battlefront game, do you know that in that game, and I don't want to say it, I don't want to say the actual spoiler, but do you know that they actually announced some key story in that game? Apparently that's canon.
Really?
Did you know this?
No,
okay, well,
I don't know.
I'm gonna say to you what they announced, but not who it is. So if anyone listening right now doesn't want to know anything, then you can just skip 10 seconds ahead or 20 seconds ahead, because we'll wrap it up real quick. But they announced who Rey's parents are.
Really?
In the game. Yes!
You're fucking kidding me.
All right, so now we won't say that again, but we'll talk about just the fact of how ridiculous that is. Like, why announce something like that in
a pay-to-win
in the game? In a pay-to-win game that no one... the sales were so low. And the thing is, apparently, I know and I don't know the spoiler, because the characters that were introduced to fulfill this spoiler were characters you've never seen before. So it's like, why have this apparently canon thing announced in the game that people aren't going to play, and why build that story arc up for a whole movie for like 2 or 3 years to have it just be some random people? So I don't know that whole thing. I don't understand. I don't know if they're gonna just be like, Disney's gonna be like, no, that wasn't canon. Actually, we're going a different route with it, because I don't know. But the fact that they announced that now before this second movie tells me that it's probably not going to be in this second movie. So you might not find out who it is till the third movie.
I don't know. As far as I can tell, man, I just have a feeling that Grandmaster Luke Skywalker is gonna go to the dark side. That's all. Like, I don't know.
Really?
From what Mark Hamill has said, he's taken, the director Rian Johnson has taken the treatment and the film in a totally different direction that he doesn't necessarily agree with. So I don't know. Yet to be seen. But like, hey, man, dude, potential spoiler if you haven't seen Episode 7, which you should by now. They killed off Han Solo. Like, nobody saw that coming.
Well, I also want to talk about Thor Ragnarok. Actually.
Oh yes, let's talk about Thor, the short-haired version of you.
Yeah, so for those that haven't seen that movie, I won't give spoilers, but damn, it was so good. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I've seen the first.
It was
like, I'm guessing it was better.
Honestly, like, dude, so much better. I didn't have expectations going into it. There was a few things I was excited for, but they knocked it out of the park. Like, it was probably more fun of a movie than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
I don't know how they pulled it off, but it was a freaking laugh riot. Like, I was laughing throughout the entire damn movie, and there was one point that both Kim and I were in our seats at the theater in stitches, crying. We were trying to pull ourselves together to continue watching this movie. There's one scene, I'm not going to ruin it, but Thor, the character, like Chris Hemsworth, just kind of breaks character, and they just kind of left it in the movie because it was so funny. He just kind of does this little freaking, oh my god, I don't want to ruin it. It's about a snake, for those of you that have seen it. Just the line about a snake, and dude, we were crying. It was so funny. But there were so many good parts in that movie, and it was such a huge adventure too. And there was a Willy Wonka part.
Really?
A little Willy Wonka reference. Yeah, Thor's strapped into this chair, and he's kind of being propelled forward, and there's all these flashing lights, and very like softly in the background you can hear like a remixed version of the song that Willy Wonka sings when they're going through that. And it's just like everything about that movie was just so amazing. I don't know, dude. The action was on point, the story was incredible, the characters were great, and the humor was so funny. They introduced this one character made of rock, and he had this like really thick like British accent, like an Easterner sort of Southerner, whatever it is. You sound really thick British. You know, the people that hang out at pubs. and drink warm beer all day.
Yeah.
And that character, and it was freaking a comedian. It was so good, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I love that movie.
I tell you,
highly recommend watching that.
The latest Marvel movies have almost, for lack of a better term or phrase, they've almost kind of become self-aware of what they are. Like,
right.
Most recently, we watched Spider-Man. Spider-Man was really good. And I almost felt like the characters in the movie, well, obviously they're cast to play the characters, but like the characters themselves, like, I almost feel like they knew that they were in a Marvel movie and they knew they had to like really give it a good performance. And same, like even back to Ant-Man, like 2 or 3 years ago, like that was really good. Like all the Marvel movies have been just knocking it out of the park. I don't know about Doctor Strange. Did you? It was okay.
Oh, that was really good, dude. That was really good.
You liked
that
it?
was more about the visual effects than anything. Yeah. Like that movie was a mind trip. Like just the entire movie, as far as the visual effects and what they did with it, and the adventure, the story that he went on, trying to discover more about learning this magic that he was wrapped up in. Yeah, that was really good. There was a lot of funny moments in that one, but it was definitely more about the darker side of the Marvel universe too. And that was another thing in Thor was they were pushing the boundaries of what they can get away with now. Like there was a couple of sons of bitches thrown out in there.
Really?
There was a few shits thrown out in there.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was definitely, and there was like a lot of there was one. I don't want to ruin it because you'll know instantly who I'm talking about. There was something that happened that was kind of gruesome that we were like, oh damn, I'm surprised they got away with putting that in the movie.
Huh.
There was one part where Hulk, you know how he can't really be killed, so I mean a lot of pain will make him turn into Hulk. There's one point where he jumps out of a plane thinking he's going to turn to Hulk as he goes down, but he ends up just freaking face planting it like real hard into the ground, and his body like rag dolls.
Warning: Stranger Things season 2 spoilers ahead. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, Eric, do you have one last thing you might want to talk about?
I not only have one thing. I would say it's the sequel to the one thing.
Okay, it makes sense.
Stranger Things season 2. Have you watched it?
Oh, dude, yes. I actually at the Black Friday sales, I picked up the first collection for $10. And it's in it's so cool, dude. It's behind me, but I won't grab it. It's like in a VHS style case. Yeah. And when you slot out the inside, it's like a VHS tape. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I'll have to look at it.
Dude, it's so cool. Anyway, yeah, season 2, loved it.
Season 2 was so good. There's only one thing I didn't like about season 2, and collectively...
Hit me.
Episode 7.
Which one was that?
The one where...
Don't say it.
Have you seen it? You've seen all the season, right?
Yeah, I've seen all of it, but I'm worried that you're going to be one of them.
No, the one where 11 goes and finds her sister.
Yes, I knew you're one of them. You didn't like it, did you?
No, look, it was an okay episode, but I just feel like story arc wise, it didn't really need to be there. I mean,
dude, some people are so angry about that episode. Like they didn't like that one. I liked it. I thought it was really good. It was like, I mean, the whole show is a callback to that 80s era.
Yeah, I mean,
and that was just
that because that was outside of Hawkins. I mean,
it was another genre. It was like Warriors, dude.
That's exactly right. And I liked it.
They've been hitting Goonies. They've been hitting like Ghostbusters. They've been hitting so many things, and that was just their dive into like Warriors. And I thought it did bring a lot to the story. I mean, that whole end, I mean, God, the whole climax, let's say, couldn't have been possible. 11 couldn't have got to that point if it wasn't for what she learned with her sister.
Yeah. I mean, she came back
channeling. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, she came back and she had her new phrase, bitchin'.
It was her learning how to deal with her anger and being able to channel it. And that development as a character, as a human. I mean, she's grown up in this contained environment, and she didn't really ever get a chance to learn how to be normal. And the combination between being stuck with Hopper and learning how to, be a little bit more vocalized, how to kind of become more of an angsty teenager, mixed with, meeting her sister and learning how to control and channel her anger, sort of forced her to become more of a normal person who can go to a school dance and dance with her boyfriend rather than be this girl who was growing up in captivity. You know what I mean? I felt like it did a lot for her character, and it was just a cool throwback to the Warriors.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I liked it as a standalone. I didn't like it how they fit it in, but still, I thought it was good nonetheless. Just didn't quite work for me, but cool. I mean, like if you liked it, that's fine. They said that I watched. I don't know if you saw it, like all 9 episodes or whatever of like Beyond Stranger Things.
Dude, I watched Beyond Stranger Things. I watched Stranger Things. I watched the bloopers on YouTube. I watched facts and information, and you didn't know it was about Stranger Things too, dude. I love Stranger Things.
I did all that. Like I was just like hungry for it, hungry for more Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But, like, who was your favorite character of season 2?
You can't pick. You cannot pick. And if I was like backed into a corner and I had gun in my head, Steve.
Really?
Because Steve is. I love Steve,
You
dude.
know what?
He's so good.
I gotta
the
tell you.
hair.
I like him, and I really like Hopper too. Like Hopper was really
Hopper's good. But you know what I love about Steve too is I have this like my own fan fiction of Steve where like whatever it is you make your own story. I believe that Stranger Things is the start to the Walking Dead universe. So these creatures or whatever end up getting out and then infecting humans. And Steve, because he's walking around with like a barbed wire friggin' nail stuck out back.
Yeah.
So Steve is Negan. He's the start of Negan. And then the world goes to crap and then he becomes Negan in like 20 years.
Can I just say, Wood, that if I were to make an 80s version of you would look like Billy.
Billy is in...
Like...
Oh, that Billy, right.
Yeah, like...
Dude, you know what's funny? I like his character a lot, but he's Australian.
I know he is. Yeah, he was the Red Power Ranger in the movie.
He's so handsome.
I know.
And he sounds so Australian when you hear him off camera. It's funny that 11 sounds so British. He sounds so Australian. And Will's brother,
he's English.
He's also super British too.
Isn't that funny?
They do a really good job at hiding those accents. No, I love that, dude. The second season was better than the first season. And I loved the first season. It was just so good. And I can't wait to see what they do with the third season.
I missed the like the group mentality of the boys. You know what I mean? Like I missed that. Like they went for a different
split.
dynamic here. Like there were so many different characters with the introduction of Sean Astin as Bob Newby. Like that was cool.
Amazing, by the way.
Rest in peace, Bob.
And that Goonies reference.
So subtle. Like it was like, they did it. They did it. So there you go. Stranger Things.
No, yeah, it was really good. And if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. If you haven't seen it, we just ruined a bunch of shit for you. In fact, let's go ahead and Eric, if you wouldn't mind splicing this.
I will.
Warning at the start of. Wait, let's try that again. Warning. The start of this conversation right here features unintentional Stranger Things 2 spoilers. So go ahead and skip to whatever time ahead you want to try and skip to avoid that.
Warning. Stranger Things Season 2 spoilers ahead. Viewer discretion is advised.
That's okay. That was good. We'll use that one.
Yeah, we'll use that.
Let's wrap it up.
Anyway, yep. So there we go. Episode 9. We finally did it after scheduling conflicts, which is no big deal. I'm just happy to get back together with you, and big congrats on your 100th thou. 6 figures, man. Wait for your play button. You're gonna get a play button. You know that, right?
I know. Well, it took Billy like 6 months to get his, so it's gonna be a little bit.
That's all right. Do an unboxing video.
Yeah, I will. I'll do it in a Woods Goods.
There you go. Just sneak it in. Oh, check this out.
Yeah. I wonder what's in this package.
There you go. But no, good chats. Switch is definitely on the up and up. Can't wait to see what's next. One thing we didn't talk about, Xenoblade comes out in a couple days here. So hopefully maybe Shulk will make a return. I mean, I don't know. I didn't finish Xenoblade 1, so I don't know. Who knows? Other than that, that's it, man. There we go. Episode 9 in the tank.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff in here, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening to all of that. Leave your thoughts down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on SoundCloud or iTunes, remember to leave a review.
Yes.
I would like, what is it, 5 star?
5 stars.
7 bananas. Okay, cool. We'll leave that, and we would very, very much appreciate it.
Yes, and check us out again on SoundCloud and iTunes, and please, if you haven't already, subscribe to Beat 'em Ups. And if you want, grab Retro Game Remix Volume 3 and 4. They're now out.
Do that.
Pay what you want or download for free.
But pay it. It is free, but go ahead and throw them at least $1. You got $1.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Any funds will go directly to the build of my new commercial space studio for Lad Studios. LadStudios.com. Check it out. Name drop.
Check those links down below.
Cool.
Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. I had a lot of fun, and we will hear from you very soon and see you and very soon. You can listen to us very soon. Yeah, all of those
Everything's
things.
taken season 2, episode 10.
Everything's taken. The podcast. It's not about the games you find. It's the friends you make along the way.
I know what that's from.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.